can't do this anymore, Ethan. Her voice cracked, but the words were sharp enough to cut through me. I stared at her, unable to process.
What do you mean you can't do this?
Sophia, I just need time. You've been saying that for months. Time isn't fixing anything. You lost your job, your savings are gone, and you sit here every day like a ghost. I can't carry your burden anymore. Burden? I repeated, my throat dry. That's what I am to you now? You're not the man I fell in love with. Her arms crossed as if shielding herself. I didn't sign up for this life, Ethan. My chest ached as I stepped closer. I'm still me. Things fell apart. I'll get back up. Don't walk away now, not when I need you most. She looked away. I can't breathe in this relationship anymore. Every time I see you, I see failure. I see weight dragging me down. I felt like she had slapped me.
Failure?
My voice shook. After everything we shared, after every night I held you when you cried, every dream we built together, you throw it all away because I stumbled? Don't make this harder, she whispered. I've already decided. No, you don't just decide something like this. You don't abandon someone who loves you when they're broken. You stay, you fight. Her eyes glistened, but she stayed firm. I don't want to fight anymore. I sank onto the couch, burying my hands in my hair. So that's it? You leave when it's inconvenient? When love demands sacrifice, you walk? She didn't answer right away. The silence stretched, filled only by my ragged breathing. Finally, she whispered, I deserve better than watching my life waste away beside yours. The words tore me open. Better? I lifted my head, meeting her eyes. You think better is abandoning the man who gave you his soul? Her lips trembled, but she forced them steady. I'm sorry. I laughed bitterly, the sound hollow. No, you're not. If you were sorry, you'd stay. You'd believe in me. But you're choosing comfort over love. That's not sorry. That's selfish, she grabbed her bag. You'll hate me for this, I know. But maybe one day you'll understand. Understand what? That the woman I trusted most left me at my lowest? That love is conditional, only alive when times are good? She hesitated at the door. I loved you, Ethan, I really did. Then prove it, I begged, my voice breaking. Stay, give me one more chance. Don't let me drown alone. Her hand tightened on the doorknob. I can't. The door clicked shut behind her. I sat frozen, staring at the empty space she left behind. My chest felt crushed, like all the air had been ripped from the room. I whispered into the silence. I would have carried you. I would have carried us both. No one answered. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. I replayed every word, every glance, every memory. I begged myself to believe she would come back, that the knock would sound on the door, that her voice would call my name again. But the night stayed quiet. At some point, Daniel called. His voice buzzed through the phone. Hey man, you okay? Haven't seen you in days. I hesitated, then croaked. She left. He cursed under his breath. Sophia? Yeah. I'm coming over. No. My voice cracked, but I forced it steady. Don't! I don't want anyone to see me like this. Ethan, I'll be fine, I lied. Just don't. I hung up before he could argue. I sat in the dark, staring at the shadows. My chest burned, my hands trembled, but I refused to cry again. Not tonight. Not anymore. Her words repeated in my head like poison. Burden. Failure. I deserve better. Slowly, I rose and walked to the mirror. My reflection looked hollow, a stranger staring back. You're weak, I muttered to myself. That's why she left. The thought crushed me, but it also lit a fire. I pressed my palm against the glass. Never again. No one will see me like this again. Not her, not anyone. I clenched my fists, whispering into the empty room. I'll rise. Not for her. Not to win her back. But so no one can ever throw me away again. The night swallowed my vow, but it burned inside me, a promise etched into the ruins of my heart. I was broken, yes, but broken things can be rebuilt, and when I rose, I swore she would regret the day she called me a burden. Ethan, open up! Daniel's voice echoed through the thin apartment door. I groaned, pulling the blanket tighter. Go home, Dan, I'm not in the mood. I'm not leaving until you let me in. His fist pounded again. I dragged myself up, unlocked the door, and slumped back to the couch. He stepped inside, wrinkling his nose. Man, when's the last time you ate? This place smells like empty takeout boxes and misery. Nice to see you too, I muttered. He sat beside me. Seriously, how long are you planning to sit here? Sophia's gone, but you're still alive. You can't waste away like this. I'm not wasting away. I'm surviving. Surviving? He gestured at the dirty dishes stacked high. This isn't surviving. This is rotting. I rub my temples. What do you want me to do, Daniel? Pretend everything's fine? Get up and smile like nothing happened? She left. Everyone else followed. I've got nothing. You've still got me, he said quietly. I looked at him, the words hitting harder than I expected.
Why? Why haven't you left too?
Because you're my brother. Blood or not, I don't walk out when things get ugly. My throat tightened. Then what do I do? Tell me how to stop feeling like trash every time I wake up. You start small, he said. Get a job, any job. Doesn't matter what. Prove to yourself you can still move. I laughed bitterly. What job wants a guy who can't even pay rent? The cafe down the street. They need someone to clean tables. I talked to the manager. I stared at him. You what? You think I'd sit here and watch you drown? No, I set up an interview tomorrow. Just show up. Cleaning tables? I whispered. It's not glamorous, but it's something. Better than starving in this cave? I wanted to argue, but my stomach growled loudly. He smirked. See? Even your body agrees with me. I sighed, burying my face in my hands. Sophia would laugh if she saw me wiping tables for tips. Daniel leaned forward. Forget her. She doesn't get to define your worth. You do, I didn't answer. His words sank deep, fighting against the storm inside me. The next day, the cafe manager, a grumpy middle-aged man, looked me up and down. You're late. Traffic, I lied, even though I'd walked. He tossed me a rag. Clean tables. Don't talk too much. Customers first, that was it. No pep talk, no welcome, just orders. By midday, my back ached and my pride stung. A couple sneered as I wiped crumbs from their table. One man snapped, You missed a spot. I bit my tongue. At closing time, Daniel showed up, leaning on the counter with a grin. Well, survived day one? Barely, I muttered, slumping into the nearest chair. He laughed. Proud of you, man. Might not feel like it, but this is a step. Feels more like falling further? No. Falling was when you stopped moving. This is crawling out. I looked at him, tired but strangely lighter. You really believe that? I wouldn't be here if I didn't. Weeks blurred together. I scrubbed tables, emptied trash, smiled at strangers who barely saw me. Every day was humiliation. But slowly I noticed the ache in my chest dulling. My body grew stronger, my hands steadier. Daniel checked in constantly. You're getting sharper, he'd say. You don't look like a ghost anymore. One night after a long shift, he caught me staring out at the street. Still thinking about her? Sometimes, I admitted. But less than before, he nodded. Good. She's not your future, Ethan. She's just your past. I let the words settle. Maybe you're right. For once, listen to me, he teased. I chuckled, the sound strange but real. All right. Just this once. Inside something stirred. Not hope yet, something smaller. But it was enough. Enough to keep crawling. Enough to believe I might stand again someday. Ethan, check this out. Daniel shoved a crumpled flyer into my hands while we sat in the cafe after my shift. I unfolded it. Graytech Solutions? What's this? Small startup downtown. They're looking for someone creative. No fancy degrees listed, just determination and vision. That's you, I scoffed. Look at me, Dan. My resume's full of gaps and coffee stains. They'll laugh me out of the building. He leaned closer. Or they'll see a guy who refuses to quit. You've got nothing to lose. I stared at the flyer. A voice in my head whispered that I wasn't ready, but another voice, quieter, sharper, told me I had to try. The office was modest, just a few desks and humming computers. A man in his 50s, tall with streaks of gray in his hair, stepped out to greet me. You must be Ethan Blackwood? Yes, sir. My palms were sweating. I'm Richard Gray, CEO here. Let's talk. We sat in a small conference room. He scanned my resume, then set it aside. Your work history is scattered, I swallowed. I know, I've had setbacks. But I don't give up. I'll work harder than anyone if you give me a chance. He raised an eyebrow. That's a big promise. It's all I have, I admitted. But it's real. For a long moment, he studied me. Then he asked, Why should I trust you when others with better credentials are knocking on my door? I leaned forward. Because pain changes people. I've lost things that mattered. I've been humiliated, abandoned, broken, but I'm still here. That means I can take pressure, I can endure failure, and I can rise again. Most people quit when it hurts. I don't, his eyes softened. You sound like a man with something to prove. I am, I whispered. Silence hung heavy, then he smiled faintly. I like fighters. Welcome to Gray Tech, Ethan. My chest tightened. You're serious? Yes, start tomorrow. We'll see if your words match your work. The next morning, a young woman greeted me at the door. You must be the new guy. I'm Lily. Ethan, I said awkwardly. She smiled warmly. Don't worry, everyone's nervous on their first day. Coffee? Please. She poured a cup and handed it over. Mr. Gray doesn't hire just anyone. If you're here, it means he sees something. I chuckled. Funny, I'm still trying to see it myself. Then let us show you, she replied gently. Days blurred into long hours. I buried myself in projects, learning fast, failing faster, but never quitting. My clothes were worn, my hands rough, but no one here cared. They cared about ideas, effort, results. One evening, Mr. Gray stopped by my desk. Still here, Ethan? Yes, sir. Just finishing the proposal draft. He scanned the notes. Impressive work. You've got instincts others don't, I shook my head. I just refused to let the work beat me. That's exactly why you'll go far here, he said. As he walked away, Lily leaned over from her desk. Told you he sees something in you. I smiled faintly. Maybe for once, someone does. Weeks later, after another 14-hour day, Daniel dropped by to check on me. He whistled at the office. Look at you, Mr. Big Shot, from cafe rags to tech startup. Hardly a big shot, I laughed. But it feels different here. Like I finally have a way out. He clapped me on the back. Told you. You just needed a spark. I glanced around the office, the glowing monitors, the scribbled whiteboards, Lily smiling at her screen. Mr. Gray pacing with a phone pressed to his ear. Something shifted inside me. For the first time in years, I felt like I belonged somewhere. Yeah, I whispered to myself. A spark. 2 years, Daniel said, leaning back in the leather chair across from my desk. You realize you've built an empire in 2 years? I smirked. Empire's a stretch. It's just a startup that got lucky. Lucky? He scoffed. You worked like a machine. You bled for this place. Don't downplay it. I glanced at the framed contracts on my wall, the bustling office outside my glass door. Maybe, but sometimes I still see that night. Her walking out. Me begging, Daniel's tone softened. You've already proven her wrong. Why let the ghost of Sophia live rent-free in your head? I exhaled slowly. Because ghosts don't pay rent. They haunt. At the quarterly board meeting, I stood at the head of the table. 10 pairs of eyes were fixed on me. Charts glowed on the projector screen. Our revenues tripled this year, I said, my voice steady. But numbers are only the surface. What we've built is trust, with clients, with each other. That's why this company isn't just surviving, it's leading. A round of nods spread across the room. Mr. Gray smiled faintly. Ethan, you've exceeded every expectation. The board agrees. You should step up as director of operations. Applause followed. My chest tightened, not with nerves, but pride. One member, Mr. Cole, leaned forward. Young man, you remind me of myself 30 years ago. Relentless, hungry. Don't lose that edge. I gave a small smile. I don't intend to. Later, Lily approached me in the hallway. Director of operations. Has a nice ring, doesn't it? Sounds heavy, I admitted. You carried heavier before. She grinned. Remember your first week? You looked like you'd collapse under one spreadsheet. I chuckled. I almost did. Her smile softened. You've changed, Ethan. You're not the man who walked in here 2 years ago. Good, I said quietly. That man was broken, she tilted her head. He wasn't broken, just unfinished. Her words lingered with me long after she left. That night, Daniel and I celebrated with cheap whiskey in my apartment. To the man who rose from ashes, he toasted. I clinked my glass against his. To the friend who pulled me out. He studied me. You ever think about reaching out to her? Showing her what she missed? I shook my head. No, my life isn't a stage for her regret. She chose her path. I chose mine. Daniel raised a brow. Still, I bet karma's already at her door. Maybe, I said, staring into the amber liquid. But I don't need to see it. Weeks passed, filled with meetings, deals, and late nights. Each victory added another layer to the man I was becoming. Money flowed, respect followed, and for the first time, I didn't feel like an imposter, but no matter how high I climbed, the scar pulsed underneath, the reminder of the night I begged someone not to leave. And they left anyway. Mr. Gray pulled me aside one evening. "You're doing well, Ethan. But remember, success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right," I nodded. "I understand, did I?" Part of me wondered if every late night, every deal closed, every title earned, was still a silent argument with her memory. One crisp morning, I stood outside the office, coffee in hand. Watching employees stream in, Lily joined me. "You look thoughtful," she said. "I'm realizing something," I replied. "What's that?" "That no matter how far I've come, I'll always remember the man I was when she left. And maybe that's a good thing." She studied me. "Because it keeps you grounded?" "Because it keeps me hungry," she nodded slowly. "Just don't let hunger turn into poison." Her words pierced me. But before I could answer, my phone buzzed, an unknown number. I ignored it, but a strange chill crawled down my spine. Later that afternoon, Mr. Gray introduced me to new clients in the conference room. I shook hands, made promises, played the role of the confident leader I had become. And then the door opened. I froze. The woman walking in carried a folder, her eyes fixed on the floor. But when she looked up, the air left my lungs. Sophia. Time hadn't erased her beauty, but it had etched something else. Weariness. Her eyes widened when they met mine, and for a heartbeat the room disappeared. "Mr. Blackwood," she said softly, as if the name burned on her tongue. I smiled coldly. "Miss Hart!" The board members exchanged curious glances, but I didn't care. Fate had twisted the knife. She wasn't gone. She was here, back in my world where I held the power. Inside, a storm rose. The scar had never fully healed, and now it throbbed again. The moment her voice slipped into the room, my chest constricted. "Ethan?" she whispered. I forced my lips into a cold smile. "Miss Hart!" Gasps stirred around the table. Mr. Gray's brows lifted. "You two know each other?" I didn't flinch. Not personally. But I've read her file. Her eyes widened, shimmering with panic, but she said nothing. Mr. Gray continued, oblivious. "Sophia Hart will be assisting you directly, Ethan. She's sharp, efficient, and I expect you two will accomplish a lot together." "I'm sure we will," I replied smoothly, though my stomach burned. Sophia's hands trembled as she set the folders down, avoiding my gaze. When the meeting ended, the others filed out. I stayed seated, watching her gather papers with clumsy fingers. Finally, I spoke. "Quite the surprise, Miss Hart. Assistant to the man you once left behind." Her voice cracked. "I didn't know it would be you." "Convenient," I muttered. She swallowed hard. "Ethan, please, no." I stood, cutting her off. "You don't get to say my name like that. Not anymore." Her lips quivered, but she stayed silent. The next day, she walked into my office carrying coffee. "Your schedule," she murmured, placing papers on my desk. I didn't thank her. "Efficient. Keep it that way." She flinched but nodded. "Yes, sir." "Sir," I smirked. "That's new." Her voice dropped. "You're my boss now." "Strange how life works," I said, leaning back. "You traded me for someone better. Now you serve me." Her eyes filled with guilt. "It wasn't like that." I laughed bitterly. "It was exactly like that." Later, Daniel barged into my office. "So it's true. She's working here?" "Yes." "Man, that's insane. What are you going to do?" "Keep things professional," I said flatly. Daniel studied me. "Professional? You're acting like this doesn't gut you." I tightened my jaw. "It doesn't gut me. It fuels me," he sighed. "Just don't let old wounds bleed into the company." "I won't," I promised, though deep down I wasn't sure. That evening, Sophia lingered by my door. "Ethan, can we talk?" I didn't look up from my laptop. "About work?" "About us." "There is no us." Her voice cracked. "I regret what I did." I finally glanced at her. Regret doesn't erase choices. Tears welled in her eyes. I was scared, confused. You thought he was better than me." My words cut sharp. "And maybe back then he was, but now? Look where you stand." She lowered her head. I don't expect forgiveness. Good, I said coldly. Because you won't get it. Days blurred. She shadowed me in meetings, took notes, organized calls. Every glance she stole at me chipped at the wall I built, but I never let her see it. One afternoon, Lily entered with documents. Sophia was already there. The tension was thick. Lily smiled politely at her, then turned to me. Everything's signed. Good, I said, signing the last page. Sophia shifted uncomfortably, her eyes darting between us. When Lily left, Sophia whispered, She's nice. You trust her? Yes, I replied. Unlike some people, her lips trembled. I deserve that. You deserve worse. At the weekly review, Sophia handed me charts. I highlighted the discrepancies, she said softly. I nodded curtly. Efficient, she hesitated. Ethan? I mean, Mr. Blackwood, thank you for not humiliating me in front of everyone. My eyes narrowed. You think silence is mercy? She looked down. Maybe. Then don't mistake professionalism for kindness, I said coldly. She bit her lip, but no reply came. That night, Daniel called me.
How long are you going to torture yourself?
I'm not torturing myself. You are. Every word you throw at her drips with poison. It's not closure, Ethan. It's corrosion. I clenched my teeth. She deserves it. Maybe she does. But what about you? Do you deserve to keep bleeding? I ended the call without answering. The following morning, Sophia approached timidly. Coffee? She asked. I took it without a word. She lingered. Why are you so calm on the outside but burning inside? I set the cup down. Because fire makes steel stronger. Her voice shook. And what if it consumes you? Then it consumes me, I said sharply. Her eyes glistened. I'm sorry, Ethan, for everything. I met her gaze, unflinching. Sorry doesn't matter anymore. What matters is you do your job. Nothing more, she nodded slowly. Yes, Mr. Blackwood. As she turned to leave, I leaned back in my chair, my pulse hammering. She was back, not as my lover, not even as an equal, but as my subordinate. And maybe, just maybe, that was the cruelest justice of all. Mr. Blackwood, the reports you asked for. Sophia's voice trembled as she placed the file on my desk. I didn't look up. Leave it there, she lingered. I double-checked the figures. I know how important this one is. Then you finally did your job, I said coldly. Her face fell, but she forced a nod. Yes, sir. Later that afternoon, Karen poked her head into my office. Ethan, can I be honest? I leaned back. Go ahead, she smirked. Your assistant looks like she's walking on eggshells every second. Did you hire her just to torture her? I shrugged. She works. That's what matters, Karen raised a brow. Sure, but the whole office sees it. Whatever history you two share, it's leaking into everything. Then they should mind their own business. Karen tilted her head. Or maybe you should face it head on. That evening, Sophia knocked softly. Can I talk to you? I kept typing. If it's about work, yes. If not, no, her voice cracked. It's about what happened. I exhaled slowly. I warned you. I know. She stepped inside anyway. But please, just listen. I finally looked at her. You have 5 minutes. Tears filled her eyes. When you lost your job, when you got sick, I didn't know how to handle it. I panicked. I told myself I couldn't carry your pain, but really I was just afraid. Afraid of what? I asked coldly. Of being dragged down with you. Her shoulders shook. It was selfish. I thought leaving was the only way to save myself. I let the silence stretch. She clasped her hands together. I see your silence now, Ethan. It's worse than anger. It's like I don't even exist to you. I leaned forward. That's how I felt when you walked away. Invisible, worthless, disposable. Her tears spilled. I never stopped thinking about you. Funny, I muttered. I stopped thinking about you the moment I rebuilt myself. The next day, Karen cornered me near the elevator. She cried in the break room last night, she said bluntly. I frowned. That's her problem. Karen crossed her arms. Or yours. You can keep acting like you don't care, but your eyes follow her every move. I didn't reply. She smirked. Thought so. That night, Sophia stayed late, shuffling through papers at her desk. I passed by and she whispered, Ethan, why do you hate me so much? I stopped. Because you made me hate myself first. She looked up, stunned. I never wanted that. But you caused it. Her lips trembled. I know, and I can't undo it. But can't you at least see I regret it? I stared at her for a long moment, then walked away without a word. The following week, during a presentation, she stumbled over her words. Karen shot me a look. I didn't step in to help. Afterward, Sophia cornered me in the hall. You let me drown in there. I met her glare. Now you know how it feels. Her voice broke. You're punishing me. I'm mirroring you, I said evenly. She whispered. I hate myself for what I did. I leaned closer. Good, because I hated myself for years because of you. Her shoulders sagged. She didn't argue. Later that night, Daniel called. You're pushing her to the edge. She deserves it. Maybe, but this isn't just about her anymore. It's about you keeping the wound alive. I'm not keeping it alive. I'm making sure she feels it, he sighed. Revenge doesn't heal, Ethan, it festers. I hung up, staring at the ceiling in the dark. The next morning, Sophia entered quietly. I'll be at my desk if you need me. I barely glanced at her. Do your job, she paused. Ethan, one day you'll realize my regret isn't an act. I said nothing. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And maybe silence will destroy me the way it once destroyed you. She left, and for the first time, I felt the sting of my own words echo back. Ethan, please. Sophia stood in the doorway, rain on her coat. I didn't move. Please what? Explain why you left? She sank into the chair. I need you to hear me. I was wrong. You said that before. I crossed my arms. This time it's different, she said. I left because I was scared of being poor. I thought choosing someone with money would save me. I was selfish, and where did that get you? I asked. Nowhere. She wiped her face. He used me until he didn't need me. Then he pushed me out. I had nothing. I learned what it felt like to be discarded. Silence hung heavy. You came here for a job, not for me, I said. She flinched. I wanted to work. I wanted to prove I wasn't a coward. A job doesn't fix betrayal. I want to try, to make things right where I can. You want redemption? I said. Redemption for choosing comfort over love? She closed her eyes. Yes, for leaving when you needed someone. Do you remember midnight calls, hospital nights, the nights I worked 2 jobs? I asked. Do you remember being there? She nodded. Every night. I replayed it and hated myself. You didn't come back to hate yourself, I said. You came back to survive. I came back because losing him made me see what I lost. I watched you rebuild. I thought maybe I wanted you back. Wanting me back isn't the same as deserving me. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to hear the truth. She breathed sharply. When you lost your job, my family pressured me. They said I needed stability. I met someone who promised it. He bought me things, and I believed the lie. He gambled with me, then threw me away. I lost friends, money, and respect. I felt emptier than when I left you. You were willing to lose me to avoid being poor, I said, and you still lost everything. She looked at me. I was cowardly. I hurt you, and I hurt myself. Her confession cleared the fog, but didn't erase the pain. Why now? I asked. Why confess after so long? Because I couldn't carry the shame alone. Seeing you every day made it worse. I wanted to be honest before I left, maybe for good. You tried to call me before? I asked. She lowered her gaze. I did. You blocked me. I watched your life move on, and I was ashamed. I built courage to come in, but I couldn't speak until now. Her honesty landed heavy. I believed in you. I believed in us. You traded that for comfort. That cut deeper than him leaving you could. I admitted I once wanted revenge. Listening to you. I'm uncertain now. I rubbed my temples. What do I want instead? She blinked. Mercy? I want peace, I said. I want to be better than the man who left you. I don't want this to consume me, she sniffed. So you won't make me pay? I won't break you on purpose, I said. But I won't pretend nothing happened. I won't let you forget. She took a breath, voice trembling. If you choose to move on, I'll accept it. I don't deserve your life back. I only wanted truth. I met her eyes. Do you think saying sorry fixes nights I cried alone? Do you think words can patch years? No, she said. But I thought honesty might be a start. I worked hard to build a life that isn't defined by her leaving, I said. You were part of that past. You don't get to shape my future, she whispered. Then teach me how to be honest. Tell me what I should do. Start by being reliable, I replied. Show up, do the job, and don't ask for sympathy. Fix things with actions, not apologies, she nodded, wiping her cheeks. I will. I won't humiliate you publicly, I said. I won't take pleasure in your pain. I will live well, relief mixed with sorrow on her face. Thank you for listening. We sat in the buzzing office. The turning point was quiet. No dramatic reveal, no vindictive triumph. Just truth and a choice. Continue feeding the fire or let it cool by living on my terms. Do one thing, I said softly. Do your work with integrity. Don't expect favors, she nodded. I understand. She left, rain trailing behind her. When the door closed, something inside me shifted. Hunger that had ruled me. I stood at my desk and whispered into the air. I'll rise. Not for her. For me! Always. Whispers filled the office before I even stepped in. Papers rustled, voices dropped, glances shifted toward Sophia. I didn't need to start any rumors. She was unraveling on her own. At my desk, Karen leaned in. She's slipping, Ethan. Everyone's noticing. I kept my expression calm. Let them notice. You're really not going to say anything? She asked. Why would I? I replied. Her mistakes speak louder than anything I could say. Karen shook her head. Cold, but effective. I returned to my work, ignoring Sophia's stammering voice at the printer. Every small failure chipped at her reputation. Later that afternoon, she entered my office clutching a stack of papers. Her hands trembled. Mr. Gray, she began. I didn't look up. Yes, Miss Hart? Her breath hitched. I know I've been making mistakes. I'm trying to do better. Then do better, I said flatly. She stepped closer. Please, Ethan, I cut her off. That's Mr. Gray to you. We're at work. Her lips parted, but no sound came. She set the papers down. I don't want pity. I just want a chance to prove I can still be competent. Competence isn't a favor, I said, finally meeting her eyes. It's the minimum. Her eyes glistened. You don't have to humiliate me. I'm not humiliating you, I replied. You're doing that yourself, she swallowed hard, her voice breaking. Do you really hate me that much? I leaned back in my chair. I don't waste energy on hate. I simply expect you to do your job. Her shoulders sagged. I'm trying. But everything feels heavier when you look at me like I'm nothing. Then stop expecting me to look at you differently, I said. Silence stretched between us. She finally whispered, You once loved me. Yes, I said evenly. Once, but that's not relevant here. Her tears spilled over. I've lost everything. Don't take my dignity too. I stood slowly, circling the desk. She flinched when I passed her. Dignity? I asked. That's earned. And right now, Miss Hart, you haven't earned it. Her hands balled into fists. So what? I just exist under your shadow until I collapse? That's your choice, I said. Not mine, she choked back a sob. You know, people whisper about me. They pity me. They laugh behind my back, I gave a humorless smile. Welcome to my world. That's what you gave me years ago. Only now the roles are reversed. She stared at me in silence, defeated. Karen knocked, poking her head in. Sorry, did I interrupt? No, I said. Miss Hart was just leaving. Sophia gathered the papers with shaking hands and left quickly. Karen raised a brow. She's crumbling. She was already crumbling, I replied. I'm just not holding her up. Karen tilted her head. You really don't feel anything? Not what she wants me to feel, I said. The rest of the day passed with Sophia's mistakes stacking higher. A missed email. A double booking. Each one added fuel to the fire of gossip outside my office walls. That evening, she came again, knocking softly before stepping inside. Her voice was raw. Please, just tell me what I can do. I didn't look up. Do your job, Miss Hart, her voice cracked. That's all you'll say? Yes. She moved closer, desperation dripping from every step. I don't need your love. I don't even need your forgiveness. Just one word to tell me I still matter. I finally met her gaze, calm and steady. You don't get to define your worth by my words anymore. That power is gone. Her tears fell freely now. So you really hold all the cards. I nodded once. And I'm not playing them. I don't need to. Your regret is doing the work for me. She pressed her hand against her mouth, stifling a cry, then turned and left without another word. Alone, I leaned back in my chair. Once she had the power to break me. Now the balance had shifted completely. She was the one shattered, and all I had to do was remain indifferent. Indifference was the sharpest blade of all. When Sophia handed in her resignation, the office whispered louder than ever. I stayed silent, watching her avoid everyone's eyes. Karen approached my desk. "So it's true? She's leaving?" "Yes," I said. "She couldn't take it anymore, could she?" "No," I replied. "And that was her choice." Karen studied me. "You don't feel even a little satisfaction?" I gave a small shrug. Satisfaction isn't the word, it's inevitability. That afternoon, Sophia knocked softly on my door. Her voice trembled. "Ethan, may I speak with you?" I kept my eyes on the document before me. Briefly, she stepped inside, clutching an envelope. "Today's my last day." "I'm aware," I said. Her lips quivered. "I just wanted to thank you for tolerating me as long as you did." I set my pen down, meeting her eyes. "I didn't tolerate you, Miss Hart. I expected you to work." "That's all," she nodded weakly. "I know." And I failed. Silence stretched until she placed the envelope on my desk. "This is for you." I couldn't leave without explaining. I glanced at it but didn't touch it. "If it's another excuse, I don't need it." Her eyes filled. "It's not an excuse. It's the truth I never gave you." "Then leave it," I said calmly. "Do what you feel you must." Her voice cracked. "I'm sorry, Ethan, for everything." I didn't reply. She waited, then turned and walked out for the last time. When the door closed, Karen slipped in minutes later. "That looked heavy," she said. "It wasn't," I replied. "She left you something?" "Yes. You're not going to read it?" I stared at the envelope. "Maybe once." That evening, after the office emptied, I opened it. Her handwriting dragged me back to years I had buried. "Ethan, I know I have no right to ask for your time, but I beg you to hear me one last time. I left because I was weak. I thought wealth and security mattered more than love. I thought you would never rise again. I was wrong. Every day since, I've regretted that choice." Her words bled with desperation. "You were the one who believed in me, who loved me when I was nothing. And I betrayed you. The man I chose discarded me and I deserved it. But losing you, that's the wound that never heals. I see you now, strong, respected, everything I once doubted you could be. I will spend the rest of my life wishing I had chosen differently." By the end, her tears had smudged the ink. I folded the letter, set it on my desk, and stared at it for a long time. Once I would have clung to every word, begged to believe them. But now they were just sentences written too late. When Karen peeked back in, she noticed the paper. "So, what did she say?" "Regret," I answered simply. And nothing. "Regret doesn't rebuild what's broken." Karen frowned. "You'll keep it?" I shook my head. "No." I struck a match, watching the flame lick the edge of the page. The words curled, blackened, and vanished into ash. Karen's eyes widened. "You burned it?" "Yes, just like that." "Just like that? Don't you want closure?" she asked. I let the ashes scatter in the tray. Closure isn't something she can give me. I already moved on. Karen studied me for a long moment before nodding. "Then maybe that's the real ending." "Not an ending," I said quietly. A reminder. The past doesn't own me anymore. When I left the office that night, the ashes stayed behind, lifeless and gray, like the love we once shared. The city lights stretched endlessly beneath my office window, glowing like constellations. Years had passed, yet sometimes I still thought of her. Not with anger anymore, just with the faint ache of memory. Daniel leaned against the doorway, holding 2 coffees. "You still like it black?" "Always," I said, taking the cup. He smirked. "Funny. Back then you used to drown it in sugar. Guess success changed your taste." "Not success," I replied. "Perspective." He studied me for a moment. "You don't talk about her anymore." "There's nothing to say," I told him. "You really don't wonder where she ended up." I shook my head. "Ghosts don't need follow-ups," Daniel chuckled softly. "Fair enough. Still, it's wild. You went from scrubbing tables to running this." I glanced at the skyline again. I didn't win by climbing higher than her. I won by not staying where she left me. Later that evening, Lily stopped by with files. "Board wants your final approval on these." I signed without hesitation. She lingered. "You seem distant tonight. Thinking again?" "Not about her," I clarified. "Good," she said with a small smile. "Because you don't owe your past another second," I smiled faintly. "You're right," she tilted her head. You ever think about the future instead? I looked at her, noticing the quiet warmth in her eyes. Sometimes, her lips curved. Then maybe you should start more often. After she left, I sat alone in the silence. The echoes of the past no longer stung. They simply reminded me how far I had come. Daniel returned later, tossing a folder onto my desk. Press wants a statement. About your journey. About how you rebuilt. Let them write their own version, I said. He laughed. You hate talking about yourself, don't you? I'm not the story, I replied. The story is that people survive. That's it, he leaned forward. Still, your survival, it matters. To people stuck where you once were. I considered his words. Maybe, but survival isn't about speeches. It's about waking up and choosing not to stay broken. Daniel nodded slowly. That's your justice, isn't it? Not her downfall, your survival. Yes, I said quietly. That's freedom. For a long moment, we both looked out at the glowing city. The following week, Karen stopped by during a meeting. Hard to believe it's been 5 years, she said, sliding papers across the table. Time moves faster once you stop looking back, I replied. She hesitated. I always wondered, Ethan, if she came back today, what would you say? Nothing, I answered. Nothing at all? She's not a chapter I want to reread. Some books you close for good, Karen nodded. Then I'm glad you wrote new ones. When the meeting ended, I stayed behind, my reflection caught in the glass. For years, I thought justice meant watching her suffer. But staring at the skyline, I knew the truth. Justice was standing here, alive, unbroken, stronger than I ever thought possible. Lily returned to collect her notes. You're quiet again, she said gently, just thinking. About what? I hesitated, then said, about whether it's possible to start over. Not in work, but in life. Her expression softened. It always is. If you let it be, I exhaled slowly. Maybe I'm ready. She smiled, not pushing further, only letting her presence linger like a promise. When she left, I finally leaned back, closing my eyes. For the first time, my chest felt light. No weight of betrayal, no hunger for revenge, only peace. That night, Daniel called as I locked the office. Drinks? You owe me a toast to freedom. To freedom? I repeated, exactly, he said. The kind where you don't even think of her anymore. I smiled into the phone. Then yes, tonight we toast. As I walked out into the night air, the city buzzing with life around me, I understood my victory. It wasn't that she regretted. It wasn't that she lost. It was that I lived, fully, freely, without her shadow. Sometimes the sweetest justice isn't revenge at all. It's becoming someone unshakable. And in that moment, I knew I was finally free.